They asked me before to come back. They asked me in the last year and a half to come back. When I was offered this, I was in Boston saying, okay, then this. And then the then this went to Stars, and then they didn't come back giving me what I wanted on the then this. So if they gave me the then this, if they give me, you know what I mean?
I know.
Yeah.
It's a possibility.
Yeah, you know, they're right that. Keep thinking you're fucking smarter than me. Don't ever make that mistake again, son.
When actor Omari Hardwick let it be known over a year ago that he was asked to return to Power by Starz Network, it was very telling. Now, whether you believe that it was for Omari to narrate the new spin-off titled Power Origins, or whether you think that it was for Ghost's character to return as an actual ghost in a hallucination, it's blatantly clear that this wasn't the first time that they asked him to return to the Power universe. With this next upcoming era of Power spin-offs, I believe that Ghost's character will be a crucial factor within both Power book Origins, as well as the new Power Legacy spin-off. For Starz to have reached out over a year ago to Omari Hardwick to return to the Power universe, and for him to decline their offer after not reaching an agreement on his demands, this makes me think that Starz not only wanted Omari to return to Power book Origins to narrate a young version of James St. Patrick's story, but they also wanted him to return into the present day of Tariq's timeline, as Ghost and not as a hallucination. Because if they only wanted Omari to narrate Origins and make a cameo appearance as a ghost, I believe that they would have came to an agreement very easily, since it wouldn't really require a full-time role. I believe that the main writers of Power have always had a script stored somewhere for Ghost's return to Power, if Omari and Starz were to ever reach an agreement. Now, of course, I have broken down the perspectives being inaccurate in the final 5 episodes of Power many times in the past, but if you're one of those people that say we saw Ghost die in Tommy's arms in episode 13, you have to ask yourself, did that really happen? With so many inconsistent things that took place differently in each of those 5 episodes, and the many unexplained plot holes surrounding Ghost's supposed death, it would be very easy for them to bring back Ghost in the current Power timeline. When Tommy faked his death in Power Book 2, that was the very first moment that we have seen them fake a character's death, since we saw Kanan do it earlier in the series. And it just so happened to take place after Ghost supposedly died. What would make the writers suddenly have a character fake their own death when they haven't really done it in the past? First, Kanan faked his death, and then Tommy does the exact same thing. It seems like a pattern when you really look at it. Just look at when they faked Lauren's death and had her in witness protection. When Effie pistol whipped Lauren and dumped the car with her body in the lake, there were a large majority of people that argued up and down that Lauren was really dead, and called everyone delusional for thinking that she survived. This can be proven if you just take a look in the comment sections around that time after the episode aired. But what ended up happening? We learned that Lauren was alive and well under Jenny Sullivan's supervision. Or even more recently, if we look at when everyone, including myself, thought that Ronnie actually killed Unique in the mid-season finale of Season 3 in Raising Kanan. Even Joey Badass played right into the narrative of his character really being dead, only until we saw Unique return in the final episode. Now each of these characters that I just listed played a crucial part within the Power series, but none of them were ever more important than Ghost's character. If the writers were able to pull off each one of these fake deaths, then it's more than likely that the same could be done for Ghost. If Lauren can survive being pistol whipped unconscious and being drowned, and if Unique can survive being beaten in the head multiple times over and over with a metal pipe, then Ghost could have most definitely survived a shot to the chest while falling over the railing. Some people forget that we witnessed Kanan shoot Detective Howard right in the chest at a close range, just like Tariq did to Ghost. There are so many people that say everyone should get over Ghost's death, but completely ignore all of the inconsistent events that took place leading up to it. Which is why I believe that Ghost will in fact return to the Power universe at some point, but maybe not right away. I believe that Ghost's return to Power will be a slow build-up all the way until the final reveal. I get the feeling that we will start to see different family members from Ghost's side of the family pop up in Power Legacy. And my reason for believing this is due to the fact that we never once got introduced to anybody on Ghost's side of the family other than Uncle Gabe. We somewhat know about Ghost's backstory with Kanan and Tommy, as well as how Ghost's father was killed. But other than that, we don't really know much about the person that James St. Patrick was before he met Tommy and Kanan, and we never heard much about Ghost's mother other than her being a nurse. Chances are, if Ghost's mother ended up abandoning him and his father, it was likely due to Ghost's father's drinking problems. And there's a strong chance that Ghost could have a sibling that only Ghost knew about. For Ghost's return to work, they would need to throw subliminal messages throughout Power Legacy, with certain things happening to make us question and wonder. I feel like once we see Tariq make his crossover appearance in Force, there could be a moment where Tariq is with Tommy, and he spots someone at a distance watching them. Tariq will start to think that he's being paranoid at first, and likely pay it no mind. Then after in the final episode of Force, after Tariq and Tommy take down Miguel and his team, I could see them heading back to New York. And as the camera shows both Tommy and Tariq pulling off, there could be an all-black tinted-out SUV that pulls up directly after Tommy and Tariq pull off, and the camera starts to slowly zoom in on this SUV, but we never learn who is inside of it, and then the camera fades to black and the final end credits roll for Force. This will leave us all speculating as to who was in the tinted-out SUV, all the way until Power Legacy premieres. Once Power Legacy starts, I believe that Tariq will start to have more dreams and hallucinations, and it would be crazy if Tariq has a dream where he starts to dig up Ghost's gravesite, and when he opens the casket, a ringing cell phone will be inside with Ghost calling him, just like we saw in the classroom hallucination scene at Stansfield. That would be a great way to tease to get the hype and speculation going. I think that Tariq will continue to notice someone following at a distance throughout Power Legacy, but he will start to think that it could be an enemy or the feds watching him. Sadly, the big reveal might not happen until Tommy is either dead or away from Tariq. For Ghost to return, there would have to be a moment where Tariq is overmanned and overpowered and has no other options left on the table. Tariq will likely have to worry about the Italians, Detective Carter getting released from prison, and possibly even the infamous Mahoney that Mecca spoke about. With all of these new enemies that could emerge, Tariq will likely take a few losses, and whenever Tariq runs out of options later on in the series, I believe Ghost will return to save him, and Ghost will have an I told you so type of moment with Tariq. We have seen countless TV series in the past where the main character dies, and then returns down the line in the future. Like the TV series from back in the day titled Dallas, where they had an entire plot about who shot JR, which was the main character in the series who everyone thought was dead until he ended up returning in a later season. I believe that Power is playing off of this exact theme, and it was always the plan to bring Ghost back at some point years later. There are many ways that Ghost could easily be written back into the show. The first is that they could say that Ghost was placed into witness protection due to being shot and the numerous threats that were on his life. Now you may be wondering, how would that be possible if the feds charged Tasha for Ghost's murder? Let me explain. Steven out of the DNC could have used his connections to get Ghost placed into witness protection, but without any paperwork filed on record. This would explain why Steven out was able to get Tasha's case thrown out, and why he was so invested in making sure Cooper Sachs wasn't able to prosecute her. And with Ghost being in witness protection off the records, that would allow him to work with Simon Stern by running a few of his clubs in Miami, under a different name. This would prevent him from going to prison if he were to return, and it would also explain where he's been this entire time. It would also explain why we never saw Ghost get placed onto the ambulance, or why we never saw anyone from the family view his body at the morgue. In Power Legacy, I believe that there will be a lot of teases, clues, and hints pointing to Ghost being alive, monitoring Tariq's every move in the distance. And the characters that we should focus on, if they appear in this next show, are Simon Stern, Councilman Tate, Tasha, and Ramona. We should pay close attention to how these characters interact with Tariq and how they act whenever Ghost is mentioned. There could be a scenario in Power Legacy where Jenny Sullivan or Blanca Rodriguez decide to reopen the case for Ghost's murder after failing to make anything stick for Tariq. As Jenny and Blanca start to investigate, they could come to their own conclusion that Tariq wanted Ghost dead after his affair with Angela, and they could say that this was Tariq's motive. Later on in Jenny and Blanca's investigation, they could uncover that there aren't any records on file at the coroner's office of Ghost's dead body, and this could be the very first real tease that we could get pointing to Ghost being alive. Now this is just a scenario, but I could imagine if Ghost were to return, it will be a long dragged out reveal, instead of Ghost just randomly popping up. Now sure, there's a portion of people that don't really want Ghost to return, but the large majority of us Power fans that have been watching the show since day one feel like Ghost's return is definitely needed, since the final 5 episodes in Season 6 of Power left so many unanswered questions. Like I have said in the past, whenever Ghost does return, it will be really interesting to see if we get a flashback of the night that Ghost was shot, showing the true perspective of what actually happened, and what happened to Ghost after Tommy left him on the floor at Club Truth. How do you think Ghost will return? Let me know down below in the comment section. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe for all things within the Power universe. See you all next time in the universe of Power.